I'd like to ask our FBI agent to tell us what happened on 9/11 as to what he tried to do, and as to a passenger list. I understand, if this is okay, non-classified.
No, it was. We had come back from the buildings, all in a state of shock, and there was a brief at that time by the analyst at headquarters over who was actually on the manifest. And when we heard the name al-Mihdhar, obviously I was upset. Made no bones about being saying the fact that I was upset. And I know the analyst was very upset also, so it wasn't just necessarily on one side, but it was in the afternoon during our conference call that and I remember exclaiming, "This is the same al-Mihdhar that we had talked about for 3 months," and I remember a supervisor at the time saying, and rightly so, that they had done everything by the book with regards to at least what the FBI could do based on current understanding of what the laws were. But at the same point in time, realizing how ludicrous that statement sounded to me.
Two September 11 hijackers, Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi, lived in San Diego, California, beginning in February of 2000. Al-Mihdhar left San Diego in June 2000, while Nawaf al-Hazmi remained until December of 2000 when he moved to Arizona. During the time they were in San Diego, these two hijackers had numerous contacts with a longtime FBI counterterrorism informant. A third hijacker, Hani Hanjour, may have had more limited contact with this individual in December of 2000. CIA and FBI headquarters had information tying Khalid al-Mihdhar and Nawaf al-Hazmi to al-Qaeda as early as January 2000, and later received information that they were in the United States. The San Diego FBI field office received none of this information before September 11th. As a result, the informant was not asked to collect information about the hijackers. An FBI written response to the joint inquiry acknowledges questions about the informant's credibility, but the administration and the FBI have objected to the joint inquiry's request to interview the informant and have refused to serve a committee subpoena and notice of deposition on the informant. As suggested by the FBI, the joint inquiry submitted written interrogatories for response by the informant. Through an attorney, the informant declined to respond and indicated that, if subpoenaed, the informant would require a grant of immunity prior to testifying. Thus, this section has been prepared without access to the informant and in reliance on FBI documents, interviews of FBI personnel, and FBI representations about the informant. In the aftermath of the September 11 attacks, the San Diego FBI field office determined that a longtime FBI counterterrorism informant had numerous contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar. After the September 11 attacks, the informant's FBI handling agent interviewed the informant about contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar. Due to suspicions that the informant might have been involved in the attacks, the informant was interviewed multiple times by a number of FBI agents about the informant's contacts with the hijackers. According to the FBI handling agent, the informant admitted having numerous contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar, but denied knowledge of the plot and initially expressed disbelief that the two were even involved. The informant provided the FBI with information concerning the informant's contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar. The informant subsequently told the FBI slightly different stories concerning the initial contact and provided different dates for the contacts with them. The informant told the FBI that during the contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar, the informant observed no signs that they were involved in terrorist activity. The informant said that at the time, the informant thought that the two were good religious Muslims. They did not act in a peculiar manner and did nothing to arouse the informant's suspicions. The informant told the FBI that based on the informant's contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar, they did not work, yet they always seemed to have money. Although they did not fit the profile of rich Saudis, the informant never questioned about their finances. During one of the informant's final contacts with Nawaf al-Hazmi in San Diego, al-Hazmi was with someone the informant had not previously met. The informant described the person as 27 years old, 5'8", about between 100 to 130 pounds, 130 to 140 pounds, fair complexion, and of either Saudi or Yemeni ancestry. The FBI has determined that Hani Hanjour, who fits this general description, arrived in San Diego from Dubai on December 8, 2000, and left San Diego with Nawaf al-Hazmi for Arizona several days later. The two future hijackers lived together in Arizona. The informant was shown a picture of Hani Hanjour and stated that this was not the person that the informant had met. On September 11th, the informant gave the FBI a list of individuals the informant understood had contacts with al-Hazmi and al-Mihdhar while they were in San Diego. 4 of the persons have been the subject of FBI investigations. 3 of them have been under active FBI investigation during the time that the future hijackers were in San Diego. The FBI opened counterterrorism investigations on other individuals on the list after September 11th. The informant's handling agent described his relationship with the informant in a joint inquiry hearing. Quote, "At some points, I would speak to the informant several times a day for hours at a time, while there were also periods that I did not speak with the informant for several months. Our discussions were not only about substantive matters of interest to the FBI, but also about personal matters such as the informant's health, family, and general well-being. During a debriefing in the summer of 2000, the informant told me that the informant met 2 individuals the informant described as good Muslim Saudi youths who were legally in the United States to visit and attend school. According to the informant, they were religious and not involved in criminal or political activities. At some later point, but before September 11th, the informant told me that their names were Nawaf and Khalid. The informant did not tell me their last names prior to September 11, 2001." End quote. According to the handling agent, the informant did not mention that Nawaf al-Hazmi was pursuing flight training until after September 11th. The handling agent told the joint inquiry that he did not consider the informant's information about these individuals unusual. The FBI handling agent said he did not document the information provided by the informant on these 2 persons in the FBI files before September 11th. This was before the informant provided this information during a discussion of personal matters, and not because the informant believed it had any investigative significance. Quote, "As required by the Attorney General guidelines, I only recorded information about persons with some nexus to international terrorism, foreign counterintelligence, or criminal activity. I was unaware prior to September 11th of 2001 that these persons had any such ties." End quote. The handling agent said in joint inquiry interviews that none of the information provided by the informant about the hijackers before September 11th raised concerns. This fact that 2 individuals were Saudi was not a concern before September 11th because Saudi Arabia was considered an ally. The FBI confirmed this in a written response. The agent noted and explained that if the informant had told him about contacts between the 2 and persons under investigation, or if he had received derogatory information about them from headquarters, he could have taken some action. However, the informant did not tell the FBI about Nawaf al-Hazmi's and Khalid al-Mihdhar's contacts with persons under investigation until after September 11th. In addition, the FBI San Diego field office did not learn until after September 11th that the CIA had information about Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar and were affiliated with al-Qaeda and have been linked to persons connected to the USS Cole bombing. FBI interviews of the informant about after September 11th confirmed the FBI's handling agent's account and add some context. The informant confirmed that the 2 individuals were only mentioned in passing during a conversation with the handling agent. The informant recalls identifying the 2 only by their first names because the informant did not consider them suspicious. The informant told the FBI that other details were not provided prior to September 11th because the informant did not consider the information important or significant.